Hello everybody.
Hey!
So today's video is about Mackinac Island and Fort Mackinac.
Hope you enjoy the video. Hi, we are Tom and Beth. Our venture awaits. We downsized, sold our home, moved into our fifth wheel, and have been on the road as full-timers for over a year now. We're exploring this beautiful country of ours while we can. We hope you will follow along with us as we continue our venture. We travel not to escape life, but for life not to escape us.
We sat on the top deck near the back on Shepler's Ferry. Absolutely loved it. Windy as all get out. I had to pull my hat down to keep it from blowing off, I guess. We loved seeing the flag flying so fast in the wind, see the Grande Hotel from the water, and then you could also see, as you go into the harbor, you go right next to the lighthouse for the Mackinac Harbor. Absolutely beautiful ride over. And when it's windy and seas are a little choppy, you might get wet.
That's the Mackinac Bridge that we drove across yesterday, the southbound direction. And today we went under it on the Captain Shepler ferry. We are here on Mackinac Island, and just absolutely gorgeous here. Look at these beautiful houses. So we are walking along the boardwalk on the way to the Grande Hotel.
Yep.
We think, anyway. It was off this direction when we came across. So we
Can't wait to see it. It's the hotel that
Somewhere in Time
the movie Somewhere in Time was filmed. One of our very favorites with Jane Seymour. So if you haven't seen it,
That's right.
look it up.
Yep, it's a good movie. This is the pool area at the Grande Hotel. It overlooks Lake Michigan. And then as we go up this way, you see the Grande Hotel. And that is a beautiful hotel. Grand is certainly a good word for it. So this is the fountain that's out on the yard in front of the Grande Hotel.
Just beautiful. Look at the flags all the way down. Just gorgeous.
It really is. So, what do you think about that? Gentlemen after 6, coat and tie. Ladies may not be attired in slacks.
It's crazy. And if you want to walk through the hotel, it's $10.
Yeah, $10 admission to walk through the hotel.
Which is absolutely crazy. We came early enough to where we didn't have to do that. But I guess 10 o'clock starts a whole new time frame. So,
But you can see that is some grand hotel, isn't it?
There is artwork displayed outside all around the island.
Little Stone Church was established in 1900 by 11 charter members. That is a beautiful building. So this was the Indian Dormitory that was built to house Indians when they would come here to receive their treaty payments. It was completed in 1838. This is the Island House Hotel, constructed in about 1852, but it was later moved to this location.
From the beach.
From the beach.
Yeah.
It is still used as a hotel today. So as we're walking along here, it's just absolutely beautiful architecture. And every time you turn around, there's one of those horse-drawn carriages going by. You can hear the horses go clop, 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 clop.
They give tours around the island, which is nice.
Yeah.
They have them as taxis, and they have them delivering goods to hotels or stores.
Yeah, the only electric vehicles or actual vehicles that we've seen out here anywhere have been you either walk, ride a horse or carriage, or bicycle out here. And even electric bikes are not allowed unless you take out the battery. But we did see somebody in a little electric wheelchair, and she was clipping along probably about 20 miles an hour.
She was doing good.
So
Really enjoying ourselves today.
yeah, it's a lot of fun walking around, seeing everything out here. Well, there's one of the taxis going by, and you can see everybody riding their bikes. There's another taxi coming up this way. St. Anne's Church is another example of the beautiful architecture that you see on this island. Absolutely gorgeous. So this church was built 1829, 1830 by Presbyterians, and is one of Michigan's oldest Protestant churches. This is inside that Protestant church. Absolutely beautiful. Look at the old oil lamps hanging from the ceiling. It's just a beautiful old building.
And the organ singers.
Yeah, the organ. Just a beautiful old building. Looks like it might need a little bit of work, but it is just so pretty and reminiscent of what they looked like in the old days. We are riding on Mackinac Island today. So we walked it the other day. Today we're riding. Here we go. Going up the stairway to Arch Rock. Don't know how many steps this is, but it just keeps going and keeps going. But it's fun.
Yep, good exercise.
That's right. There's a gorgeous view from the stairway to Arch Rock. Okay, we're done with the steps.
We think.
We think.
Not sure yet.
So now we're headed to Arch Rock on the trail. It is pretty up here, although we're a little warm from the exercise. It's cool up here in the shade. So there we go. There is Arch Rock. It is beautiful.
Look at the clear water down there.
Yeah, look at how clear the water is there. Just amazing, isn't it? So here is another view of Arch Rock from the little walkway that brings you right up to the top. And then look out this way. The gorgeous view out here. Absolutely beautiful. A few more steps to go up to the Nicolette Watchtower, but it doesn't look like it's a lot this time.
Not too bad.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too bad. We are here at the Nicolette Watchtower. There's a stone here and just overlooks the beautiful lake. I think that's Lake Huron.
Yep. Gorgeous, isn't it?
Yes, she is. Yep. Oh, there's my beautiful wife. So here we go. We're headed back down all those stairs. So this is Arch Rock from the road down below. And unfortunately, the road is still closed, so we're not allowed to go all the way around that way. There's some construction. Yeah, it might have been washed out, we're not sure. Is it you? At this site on June 27th, 1912, Richard Collier found Elise McKenna. Somewhere in time, Jane Seymour, Christopher Reeve.
Right there. There's the trees. Right there. There's the trees.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's beautiful.
Love that.
Yeah, that's really neat. Parts of this bike ride gets really dark because of the tree coverage. It's pretty cool. So this is the Devil's Kitchen, they call this. It's this cave formation right in the side. It's pretty cool. See, there's actually a little bit of wave action today. Getting some splashes. You can hear the wind and the waves as we're riding our bikes along the trail. Brook flows year-round, even when it's freezing or during really dry periods. It empties down into Lake Huron. It's very pretty through here. You can hopefully hear the water. Example of some of the homes, private residences along this road. So we are here at the site of the British landing in 1812. So if you don't want to take a boat or a ferry over to the island, you can fly over in an airplane. Here's the airport. This is Skull Cave, one of Mackinac Island's oldest formations. This is the backside of Fort Mackinac. After all the uphill riding, we finally got some downhill because we had to come across the island. But it's worth it. Fort Mackinac, 1780-1895. This is pretty cool. Wow, look at this. You can see where they would stand so they could shoot over the walls. Sure. Here we're standing on a wall. You can see they would shoot out through holes in the wall like this, or they would shoot over above it as well. And over here is a little small hole that I guess if you were a sharpshooter, you could use that one. I think I'd rather be hiding behind the small hole than the big ones. They've done a nice job with this fort. Inside the east blockhouse. So you can see, in addition to the gun placements, they had several cannons here as well. This is pretty neat, the way they've recreated this or restored it. But some of this, when you look here at the flooring,
Kind of goes down an angle.
yeah, it looks like some of this might be original. It's pretty cool. You can see why this fort was so strategic, protecting this island, why the British took it early in the War of 1812, and why we, the Americans, tried so hard to recapture it. Look at this. I mean, overlooking that beautiful harbor. The Mackinac Bridge in the background, looking down on Mackinac Island from the fort.
Dressed as a soldier of the 23rd United States Infantry, Company E, that would have been stationed here at Fort Mackinac from 1884 to 1890. And during that time, the soldiers are here with a rather unique purpose. They're acting as caretakers for the second national park here on Mackinac Island. So this is really quite a cushy position, considering 90% of the Army is stationed out west of the Mississippi River on the Great Plains. But they're still going to get caught up in a new trend in the United States Army that actually persists to this very day. And that is the focus on the individual marksmanship skills of the average soldier. So you see, before the 1880s, there isn't a whole lot of effort or stock put into it, for a few reasons. First of all, the main tactic at the time required soldiers to stand shoulder to shoulder in big long lines of hundreds and thousands of men, firing semi-accurate and rifled muskets at a range of 200 to 300 yards at most, and fighting against an enemy that would most certainly be fighting a very, very similar style that you would. What you need to do is simply bring back that hammer twice, open the rising breech block here at the rear of the rifle, take a very modern looking brass 45-70 cartridge, which would have had a 45 caliber bullet here at top with 70 grains of black powder, hence the name 45-70, with a center fire primer in the rear of the cartridge to light it all off. And they take that cartridge and insert it at the rear of the rifle here, close the rising breech block, bring back the hammer one more time, and they'd be ready to fire. So a soldier in the Civil War, one of those rifled muskets, muzzle-loading muskets, could fire maybe between 2 and 3 aim shots in a minute. But with this Springfield 45-70 rifle, with its trapdoor design, can fire between 12 and 15 shots in a minute. So that's quite an impressive change. But this rifle's still a little conservative for the era. If you have seen any John Wayne or Clint Eastwood movies, or any other Western movies to that fact, you know that there are lever-action repeating rifles invented at this time that can fire anywhere between 14 and 16 shots in a single reload. With this rifle, you can only fire one shot and then you have to reload. So still a little bit on the downside of that as far as reload speed goes. But the Army's sticking to these for a few reasons. They're kind of in a bit of a budget bind, so they don't see that they could afford that sort of rifle. And they also don't want the soldiers to waste ammunition. So instead, they're going to focus on training the soldiers with this rifle to be the best marksmen that they can be. And they achieved that goal. By 1890, the United States Army is known as an army of marksmen. Some of the best marksmen would be here at Fort Mackinac.
The guardhouses at Fort Mackinac contained a black hole that they would use to punish soldiers that had been bad.
You're going to look down through plexiglass into what was one of those black holes. A lot of the history here in Fort Mackinac goes into the detail on the lives of the men and the families that were stationed here. It's pretty cool to read all about their families and how they grew up and everything that happened here. Worth the time to take the trip through the fort and to see everything.
This is the Quartermaster's Storehouse in Fort Mackinac. In 1885, running water was brought to the fort before it was brought to the rest of the island. And this was the post bathhouse. Soldiers could come here and take a hot or cold bath. They even had a trapdoor steam vent up at the top.
That might be left. If he finds anything, of course, it will be a wad of historically inaccurate aluminum foil. We use aluminum foil here. They would have used a light cotton cloth called muslin cloth. The reason we use aluminum foil is simple. It's not flammable. Cotton cloth is quite flammable. Last thing we would want would be to send flaming bits of debris down into Marquette Park, light a bush or a dog on fire. Next he's going to take the wet swab, which is simply a woolen ramrod. It's going to be soaked in water. He's going to run that down the barrel to extinguish any sparks that might be left behind. This would have been done on the battlefield. They would have been repeatedly firing this as fast as they could, so the chance of a spark accidentally setting off the charge was much greater than it is today. Now he's actually going to load the cannon charge. It's simply a salute charge of black powder. This loading process would have been done on the battlefield by a team of 9 men. They would have been much more efficient than the 2 of us. They also wouldn't have been narrating their way through the loading process while under fire, so I would have been a bit more useful. Now that the gun is in its firing position up against the wall, the last thing that we have to do is to prime this cannon. It's a 2-part process. Ethan's going to take a brass spike called a gimlet, run that down the vent. That's going to puncture the aluminum foil and expose some of that black powder to our ignition device. The ignition device is a small metal tube with gunpowder. It's called friction pipe. So it's going to have a pin at the top. When the pin is pulled, it creates a chemical reaction with fulminate of mercury that creates a spark that goes into the gunpowder, down into the cannon charge. It's at this time that I would like to remind you that this is a cannon. While we have no projectiles in front of the charge, this will still produce quite a loud boom. So now is the time to cover your ears or pull out your cameras depending on what your priorities are. There are only 2 commands left to fire this gun. They are ready, fire!
So this is the first sergeant's room. I was actually surprised that it's as big as it is. So here's the squad room. You can see they all had foot lockers. They had those great wool blankets that I had in my house when I was growing up. And you can see they had a place to hang their heavy clothes as well. Not too shabby.
As I said, in the fort, there's a lot of history about the island itself and the people and all of the different things in its history for fur trading. And it's just amazing. You got to take the time to go through the fort and to read all of these little signs.
Fur trade was a big deal in North America back in the 1800s. And these are the different furs. Just an example of some of the furs. More than a dozen species of animals were trapped in North American wilderness and shipped through Mackinac Island.
You know, if there's an antique bicycle, I'm going to include it in the video. Mackinac Island is America's second national park and was designated as such in 1875. Mackinac Island was hit hard during the Depression and then World War II, but with the government's help, it survived.
Beginning in 1878, officers and enlisted men were required to send their children to school. And this is the post schoolhouse here at Fort Mackinac. This is the Hill quarters, built in 1835. It was a duplex for 2 officers from the garrison and their families. There were 3 bedrooms for each part of the unit.
Fort Mackinac was a good duty station with fresh air, good food, and weekly baths. Just outside the fort is the location for the relocated Somewhere in Time Gazebo. Absolutely beautiful. This storefront was the coin shop for the scene in the 1980 movie Somewhere in Time.
Hi everybody. We are standing inside the Somewhere in Time Gazebo. It was relocated to this particular location to allow for public access. But if you don't pay attention to the map,
You won't see it.
you won't see it because
No.
it is hidden in a bunch of trees.
And we're so excited to be standing right here where Christopher Reeve and Jane Seymour stood. And it's just been great to be here on the island to see the different film scenes they did. The whole film was shot here except for some parts that they took to Chicago. But everything else was shot here, which was really kind of fun to see. It didn't do very well at the box office, but it has a royal following right now, they said, which is us.
Yeah,
Right?
that's right.
If you haven't seen the movie, go see it. It's
Yeah.
really good. Rent it. Do whatever.
So hope you enjoyed the video we shot here of the island and of the fort. It's well worth the money to come over on the ferry
Yes.
and spend the time over here doing this. So
We've had a really good time, and we've seen a lot. And then we came on Saturday and did the walk around, and then today we've ridden our bikes around the island. You can ride around the island, but you have to stop at certain areas because one part of the island road is being redone.
yeah, the main road's being done.
Yeah.
So if you're hoping for a continuously flat ride, you either have to go back the way you came, or you give up the thought of the flat ride
Go up some hills.
you go up some hills through the center of the island.
It was a little crazy.
Which is what we did. We came up from the British landing site, but it was a lot of fun.
It was fun.
We just took our time and had fun.
Yeah, so you can do your bike here. If you want to ride your bike here, they will let you bring it on the ferry. It does cost $13 to add your bike to your fare to come across the ferry to ride it here on the island. But I would highly recommend to do that. We've seen lots of people with kids and all sorts of people riding their bikes here today. It's been a
Or
lot
you
of
can
fun.
rent bikes here too.
Yeah, they do have rental bikes everywhere here. So
Yep.
there's no surplus, no
Shortage.
That's what I'm gonna say. There's a surplus. There is no shortage of bicycles here. So come and rent a bike and tour the island and just enjoy yourself. Bring a picnic lunch or grab something here. And food is not cheap here. If you're gonna come and eat, then it is gonna cost you a little bit, but it's a tourist area. So what do you say? You know?
I think we grabbed a hot dog here in the fort. It was like $6 each.
Yeah,
$3 for a small bottle of water.
Not bad, but we were hungry and we decided to do that. So
Yeah.
anyway, we hope you enjoyed the video and we thank you for following us. And if you have any questions, just let us know below. Hit like and subscribe. And as we continue our adventure throughout this beautiful country of ours, we love bringing these sights to you. So
That's right. So hope you enjoyed everything, and
we'll see you around the campfire. Bye.